Despite the sun long having departed the skies above, the streets of Ponyville were brimming with lights. Lanterns danced gently on their strings in a light autumn breeze. Mixed screams of terror and laughter followed clusters of costumed fillies as they sped from door to door, eagerly collecting their sweet prizes. The moon tonight was larger than ever, a product of the Princess of the Night ensuring a spectacular backdrop for the night's festivities across the land. This was Nightmare Night, one of the most celebrated evenings of the season alongside the winter solstice. "Hi there, Fugger Coob," a muffled voice called out. Twilight turned to find Applejack trotting towards her. The farmer pony wore a striped blue and white vest over a white shirt, a black bow tie, while his straw boater sat in place of her iconic Stetson. Twilight couldn't tell if her speech was impeded more in part by the red, bushy mustache plastered on her muzzle, or the length of rope clenched tightly in her teeth. On the other end of the rope was a very flustered Rarity, trying hard to avoid getting attention, although the bright rainbow patterned wig, shirt, and red and yellow striped pants wasn't making it easy for her.
"I honestly cannot be seen like this,"
she protested loudly as she continued struggling against the rope.
"How you ever talked me into putting on this ridiculous get-up is beyond me."
Applejack stood by Twilight and spat the rope on the ground, clamping it to the dirt with a hoof before her charge could escape her.
"Sorry for arriving late, but I had to fetch Rarity."
The fashionista gave her a glare that could freeze a Wendigo in its place. Applejack just sneered.
"I told you not to take Rainbow up on her a little bit. Now you gotta live with the consequences."
"Her bet?" a puzzled Twilight asked.
"Rainbow bet Rarity that she'd enjoy that daring-do book of hers. Heh, y'all can see that she lost. Couldn't get her to keep the nose on, though." "So let your cousin me. I'm the brilliant writer to torturers,"
Rarity grumbled bitterly. The quiet switch of wings and dull thud of 4 hooves making contact with the dirt, which would have heralded the arrival of their next guest, was inaudible over the crowd's cheers and blaring music. Instead, she made her presence thrillingly known by laughing miraculously at Rarity's plight. Her squeals of laughter continued as she fell on the ground clutching her sides, dirtying the black suit she wore.
"I can't believe you got to wear it, AJ. Ah ha ha!"
Rainbow gasped, tears of mirth now forming the corners of her eyes as she let loose another peal of miraculous laughter.
"This is the best Nightmare Night ever!" "Where are you supposed to be anyway, RD? Well, the mayor's in black."
"Sheepy tax auditor," Twilight chirped. Rainbow stopped her laughing immediately, deadpanning at the unicorn.
"Well, Luna doesn't like them," Twilight mumbled, finding interest with a pebble by her hoof.
In one swift motion, Rainbow flipped herself onto her hooves and produced a white mask from one of the suit's pockets.
"Well, I was going to dress as a slender mare. I can't really see out of this thing at all. Plus, I told you the thread count was too high,"
Rarity cut in, smug that she had achieved some semblance of revenge. She would be victorious by attrition.
"Right. Anyway, the weather team called me in to help with that giant boom over the Everfree,"
Rainbow continued, lazily throwing a hoof over her shoulder at the foreboding mass of dark clouds billowing over the canopy. The animal-shaped thunderhead reached high above the range of most other storms, spitting out jagged bolts of lightning and shaking the ground with tumultuous thunder.
"It's weird, really,"
Rainbow said once she noticed her friends were too shocked at the impressive size of the storm to say anything.
"We've seen thunderheads, but not as huge as this one. But it doesn't seem to be moving at all. Just kind of..."
"Shh! Do you guys hear that?" Twilight tensely whispered. The others gave a quick glance to the purple mare. She was standing rigid, ears perked towards the huge storm. It raged on,
oblivious to this scrutiny, as the others began to worry if it was all possible to study oneself to death. Applejack spoke. Wait, I think I hear it. It's like some sort of buzzing. Eventually, Rarity and even Rainbow Dash, who had lost much of her hearing in her right ear due to bucking a few too many thunderclouds, began hearing the mysterious buzz emanating from the massive storm. Other ponies in the crowd had begun to notice it as well between the thunderclaps, turning their attention away from the stage. Suddenly, a dark shape bolted from the depths of the thunderhead, flying high above the gathered masses. From below, its silhouette closely meshed that of a bird, yet its wings remained static as it flew. And those bulges! What were they good for anyway? From the tips of its strangely motionless wings flashed bright lights, with a solid red light adorning from the left wingtip, while a green light adorned its counterpart. The drone was now clearly audible as it continued overhead. By now Scratch even stopped her music to gawk at the strange object. The whole population in town stared in shocked silence as their eyes traced the object's path across the sky, and continued staring even as it continued droning away. Well, what is it, Twi? It ain't gonna hurt no pony, is it? Applejack worryingly asked as the droning changed into an intermittent sputtering. I don't know, she responded, still watching its arc lazily through the night, driving closer to the ground all the while. It doesn't appear hostile at any rate. And I haven't gone Oh, my Celestia is going for the library! The others turned just in time to see the thing raise the outer branches of the library with a wingtip before being blinded by a light brighter than any lantern. It swooped low over the town, now barreling toward the lights of the festival, like a giant moth to a flame. The once vibrant and jovial atmosphere of Nightmare Night was shattered as other ponies took note of the menacing object hurtling towards them. It quickly dropped its belly into the peaceful waters of Silver Lake, destroying its perfect reflection of the moon. Mist flew into two brilliant arcs from its main body, while the display was mirrored by two protrusions from the wings which stuck down into the water. With a loud schlunk, the mysterious object jammed itself firmly into the shoreline. The strange sputtering sound was silenced as the strange device in one of the wings' bulges spun lazily to stop. No pony spoke a word as they inched closer to their new guest, shielding their eyes from the unearthly glare emanating from the object's left wing. Why was it here? What was it? Who or what sent it? A high-pitched sugar-fueled spoke broke the stunned silence. Woohoo! Party crashers! Nathan Drake gently aroused himself from his sleep and glanced around the cockpit of Sullivan's Grumman Goose. The cockpit was dark, save for when moonlight filtered through the windscreen and the gentle green glow of the instruments illuminating the weathered features on Sully's face. An iconic Cuban cigar wedged firmly in his teeth. A glance at the clock confirmed what Nate's tired body already had a firm grasp of. It was nearing 2 a.m. The twin engines continued to drone in stereo. Long before Nate remembered the late hour had been the only thing caused him to drift off. He began thinking of anything to keep his mind awake. He and Sully were on the second leg of the journey they had begun after arriving back in the States once their business in Yemen had concluded. They had departed from Florida by 7, stopped in Cuba for fuel and supplies by 10, and departed again an hour later for the island home Sully had rented for their guys' week out in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. They both were in need of the trip. However, one thing still confounded Nate about the whole thing. It could wait until later, though. Right now, the engine's lullaby called Nate back to the comfort of sleep. He escalated just about it after one more rest. Nate's eyes shot wide when he suddenly felt his stomach flip as the plane began to roll towards the black waters of the Caribbean. Panicking, He grabbed the yoke in desperate attempt to level the goose, only to hear a hearty chuckle from the other side of the cabin once they were back to flight level. His heart still racing from his courtesy call, Nate looked over at Sully. A wry grin was plastered across his face as he continued to chuckle at his little prank. Nate hadn't found it nearly as amusing.
Jesus, Sully, you nearly gave me a heart attack. Now that's saying something. He chortled softly, shifting the cigar to the other side of his mouth. If I'd known you'd react like that, I'd have just yelled. Anyway, keep your head up. I need you awake for this landing. Them lines are goddamn bad. We only got enough fuel for one shot at air.
Yeah, about that, Sully. Why do you have to land at 2 in the morning anyway?
Still some deaths in these parts.
I take it they all were on bar tabs? Despite the best efforts of the engines, the audible silence fell between the two. Sully was first to dispel it.
Nate, I've been thinking.
Oh boy, that's dangerous, he jokingly replied, helping to stare away from the tender subject of Sully's steps.
Haha, very funny. Anyways, I've been thinking. How the hell have we found these goddamn relics?
What do you mean? Sully removed his cigar before replying.
Eldorado, Shambhala.
I remember the pillars?
Nate, these places were here for years, even centuries. Sometimes they never even existed before we found them.
Nate gave an exasperated sigh. Aside from Sully's ever-expanding laundry list of creditors, this was the last topic he wanted to get into with him. Nathan wanted nothing more than to be done with treasure hunting altogether. Sure, their time aboard was exciting, and they profited nicely every time, but both he and Sully had more of their fair share of near-death experiences because of these escapades. Sully sighed.
Nay, you know that rule of 3? You know, 1, it's a fluke. 2, it's a coincidence. And 3 means there's a pattern.
Yeah, Sully, I know that. Where are you getting at? That I have some inhuman ability to find crap? Nate replied, turning his attention to the Caribbean Sea churning silently between them as Sully began prattling off a response. He didn't pay much attention to him. Instead, he eyed the bright deck lights off a ship of the horizon. This late, early, in the day? It could possibly be hosting divers searching for the husk of some lost Spanish galleon or merchant vessel. It painfully reminded them of how their first disastrous adventure had started. Illegally driving off the coast of Panama, falling victim to the centuries-old scourge of pirates.
All I'm saying is, I wouldn't be surprised if we found a goddamn horse out here.
Nate could only give his lifelong friend and mentor an incredulous look. What? Alright, I wouldn't be too sure. What the hell? Sully stopped mid-sentence as they flew into a low cloud bank which had been recorded by their weather charts. Visibility dropped to 0, with nothing but a wall of cloud visible from every window. Rain began smattering the windscreen, and turbulent winds buffeted the gust. The lightning arced just feet from the wingtips, salting the aviator's eyes and ears with blinding light and deafening blasts. They and Sully grappled with the yokes to keep rocking plane under their control.
God damn it! No, help me keep her steady. Darkening us down to 1500.
Then he relaxed his arms enough for Sully to begin the descent. The altimeter's needles slowly began winding their way down past 3,000 feet, with occasional shudders from the plane getting hit with another bout of turbulence. The compass disc spun wildly on its gimbal, making Nate wonder if they had mistakenly gone north and ended up in the Bermuda Triangle instead. His train of thought was derailed as a powerful bolt of lightning struck their right engine. Bits of its cowling ricocheted out the fuselage, exploding the heavily damaged engine to the rain. A loud buzzer joined the cacophony to notify Sully and Nate of their lost engine, now angrily spitting flames and the raging storm from cracked cylinder heads as the propeller spun uneasily. Nate reached up and shut his throttle, not before they had lost several crucial gallons of fuel to the unsustainable engine fire. It's always the right engine, isn't it? He thought, aiding Sully in leveling the goods once they had reached 1,500 feet. They continued to fight the turbulence, rain pouring the plane until, as quickly as they had flown into the sunstorm, they emerged into a windless, countless night. The compass calmed themselves, thinking that they were, in fact, heading north.
Nice relief for exiting the store and vanished as he scanned the world below him. What should have been the inky black swells of the Caribbean Sea were instead the dark treetops of an expansive forest. It gave way to grassy fields as the plane struggled over the rooftops of a small village. His eyes traced eastward, gliding over the black mass of a reservoir large enough to accommodate the goose. An odd conflagration of lights and buildings sound the shore opposite the town, suggesting some sort of celebration. Continuing his reconnaissance of the new land, he spotted a rather large city clinging to the face of a mountain, led by much in the same way as the supposed festival. Wait, was that a cast? His observations were cut short as the only good engine of the goods began sputtering, crying in protest of its hunger pains for the fuel lost by its brother. Nay, Sully began impressively viewing the strange world beneath him. Tell me you are looking for this place. No, he replied, sharing Sully's apprehension. But I did see a lake just long enough to land in. Circle back to the right and bring us in low over that town, keeping that giant oak tree to the left. I just hope the locals won't mind us crashing their party. Sully sent the plane into a lazy right turn, passing over an open orchard before lining up with a large tree at the end of the settlement. He clicked on the landing gears as they exited their turn, bathing the thatch-roofed houses with bright artificial lights as they sped overhead. Sully squinted as he attempted to judge the length of the lake, focusing on where the shimmering waters ended. Our comrade is a little too hot for this night, kid. When we had the war, jump the line and get. The roar of the goose's hull splitting the water surface drowned out the rest of Sully's command. Then he braced himself against the cockpit's instrument panel, while Sully remained focused on keeping the plane on an even keel as they rapidly piled across the lake. Their impromptu moonlight cruise came to an abrupt end as the goose's hull, so adept to slashing through water, gouged itself into opposite shore, throwing Nate and Sully against their yokes. Sully's cigar, torn from its owner's mouth by the sudden stop, snuffed itself out against the windshield. The left engine popped twice before falling silent, letting the propeller slowly wind down. An eerie silence pervaded the area as the citizens of the town began to investigate their sudden guests. Nate was first to recover from the crash. Oh man, he said through gritted teeth while rubbing his neck. Now that's some whiplash. Sully, hurry. Sully? His face paled as his eyes fell on Sully's motionless form slumped over the controllers. A crimson light meandered down the old man's temple from where his head struck the dashboard. His mouth bobbled slightly, allowing him to murmur. Then he leaned in closer, desperate to hear what may be his mentor's final words. What was that, Sully? God damn it, Nate! Sully exploded, easing himself up into his seat again. I told you to get that gear down as soon as we had the war. What the hell happened? I couldn't hear you. Oh. Sully massaged his temples, attempting to call the pair of headaches now racking his skull. I need another damn cigar. Make sure to find the other one, hey? He called as he climbed out of his chair and staggered down into the cargo hold for his prize cigars. Relieved his friend was still very much alive, Nate began searching for Sully's wayward cigar before it could singe anything, but froze once his eyes glazed beyond the fractured windscreen. A crowd had begun forming at the nose of their beached goose. They were strange to say the least. All their abnormally large eyes strained onto the wreck, squinting against the glare of someone working landing light. He found looks of fear, worry, angered. One even looked fit to burst with joy as the town's new guests. Sully? Sully impressively called over his shoulder, not wanting to take his eyes off the crowd. You found that damn cigar yet, kid? No, but I think I found your horse.